is there a piece of you that worries like 6 years down the road, you'll wish that you took more time to just like be a kid and not invest so much into your dreams right now?
For sure, for sure, for sure. Even now, man, because from the age of 13 till now, I'll be 18 in July. So really from 13 to 18, I've never really had friends. I never really went out. I never really did anything. I've always just been at my desk working on music, writing songs, just all of it. And I've dedicated pretty much my whole time from 13 to 18 on that. And even sometimes now I'll be like, wow, I wish I could go back to be like 15 and kind of like mess around over here and do that and do this and get some more friends and go. But honestly, man, I could sit here and say that all day, but I think everything happens for a reason. And I think once I get to the point where like I'm 25 years old and I'm chilling and I have a huge catalog and I'm able to travel whenever I want and I'm able to take care of the people I love, it'll still be worth it. I'll just always have that little bit of like maybe I shouldn't have, you know.
No, and I think there is a piece like of that, and there's also the piece of so many relationships you form at a young age or middle age or whenever you form them. Eventually, you grow apart, and you not necessarily for bad reasons, but you just go down different paths and go on different adventures or whatever. You like your paths split, and I think like with being so connected to music, like that's not to say that down the road you won't, connect with other artists and like have a close knit friend group of people that are in the same like mindset and have the same goals, and you're just kind of speeding that process up because I feel like that's kind of where life goes eventually down the road, anyways.
Yeah, yeah, and not enough people talk about it like that either. Because no matter what, you're gonna end up doing something. So why not start a little early? You know, and
Hmm.
it kind of gives me reassurance on the whole like regret thing or like whatever the doubt. You know, that's one thing that really does give me reassurance. Because either way, I'm gonna be chasing my dreams regardless. So I'd rather start now. You know.
Yeah, exactly. We got to jump start on the competition, right? You had an
Hey,
opportunity last year to represent your state in the 50 States Project. You dropped two projects and a bunch of other singles. Do you like when you do all of that, and you dropped the ebook last year? When you do all of that, is do you still like have moments where you feel like you're not doing enough, or do you feel like you're doing too much, or where do you feel like you're at?
bro, I felt like the whole 2024, I felt like I could have did so much more, right? But I feel like I did enough for what my mind was at the time, right? So a lot of times we artists, sometimes we play for the numbers, sometimes we play for the love. Last year, I really spent a lot of time playing for the love. I didn't care about the numerical things, but I feel like this year I will get a little bit more focused on the numerical side of things. Just like, okay, the year just started off. We're maybe 2 weeks into the new year. I've already dropped two songs. I
Hmm.
got another song coming next week, and I'm gonna keep a consistent schedule. Kind of follow Russ's blueprint, the song every 2 weeks throughout the whole year, maybe chill off on the projects, maybe only drop one. But I'm gonna do things a little differently this year. But I feel like last year, man, I could have did a lot more. But I feel like it was enough for my mind at the time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, for sure. You're gonna go through seasons in your life where you you got to focus on some things sometimes. Um, with kind of talking about your music last year, I mean, you've kind of always had like a variety of music you put out, but it feels like a pretty intentional shift over the last little bit here, where it's kind of gone from like mostly rap to like we got more like R&B sprinkled in here, and kind of almost more R&B type vibe now than anything else. What kind of pushed that change in tone of music?
Oh man, I'm a huge R&B listener, always have been. I don't really listen to like super duper aggressive rap. So I knew that I couldn't make that. And the rap that I do make, I've recently gotten bored of listening to. So I just started listening to a lot of R&B, and I'm like, okay, let me give this a try. So here recently, I've just been super duper inspired from that side of things, just from being a fan of music and loving R&B. So I was like, let me try it, and people started to like it. So I kind of just kept going from there, and I always like one person I look up to is Tory Lanez. Like he has like two sides of like his thing, right? Or even
Mhm.
Drake. Drake is another good example. Like he can give you his singing R&B time, and he can also come in and lay down some fire bars, and that really really inspired me. I remember one night in my room, I just went down Tory Lanez's whole discography even before he had things on platforms, and I'm like, okay, he did it like this. I did the same thing with Drake. I'm like, okay, he did it like this. I want to do it like that. So really, just inspiration from them guys and just being a fan of R&B in general.
No, I remember when Tory Lanez got into it with Joyner Lucas, and he dropped that. Oh, what was it? I want to call it like Backpack Freestyle or something. It was like the second disc that he had. I don't know, and I'm like, holy shit! Like this dude is spitting like crazy right now. Like, why do we not get more rap Tory? Like, I like his R&B
It
stuff for sure, but like,
odds of because around that time, Joyner was one of my favorite artists. Like Joyner was
yeah.
one of my favorite artists. I've always loved like Joyner's vision and like
Mhm.
creativity.
No, he's always tried to put out like a message with his music, and oftentimes come at it from like a different perspective than you would expect, whether it's the "Am I Racist" or the suicide song you put out, whatever it is. He's had like a cool vision with it, and I think he's kind of, I always thought like from his first stuff that he was gonna get like so much bigger so much faster, and I don't know exactly what's like kind of kept him in his circle, but he always feels like someone who hasn't quite reached where you feel like he should be for like the stuff that he's putting out. But
Yeah, I mean, I could say the same for Logic too. I feel like Logic should be like way bigger than what he is.
yeah.
Logic, a couple other people, but yeah, man, I completely understand what you're saying about Joyner because, bro, I remember like there was a time where like, man, you couldn't tell me nothing. I'm a super
Yeah.
fan of.
He just felt like song after song, and then he got. I mean, he got on a song with Eminem, and you're like, oh, now he's gonna pop off, and then it was still kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
like,
like
oh, yeah,
it's gonna be like Drake level, but I don't
yeah,
know why.
yeah. I don't know, but so you mentioned Joyner, you mentioned Logic, you mentioned Tory. Who are some of the other artists that you like when you're trying to step away from your music and listen to something else that you like to dive into?
Man, Drake for sure. I like a lot of Jack Harlow. I relate to Jack Harlow a lot. Just seeing him go from like this nerdy kid with glasses that was could spit, and now he's like this suave guy that's just like smooth, and he like rapping about what he wants to rap about, and it's just so tough. Like I've always been able to relate to Jack. You know, seeing him come from like this all the way here. Jack's another one for sure.
No, and I like how no matter what he puts out, he knows that it's like what he wants to put out, and he just doesn't care about there. I mean, I'm sure there's like a small piece of him that cares, but like he's not gonna not put it out. Like I remember when he put out like his Jackman album, and they were like the different tracks that people didn't vibe with necessarily, and he's just like, no, this is my project. Like I put this out. This isn't your
I
songs.
love
Like,
Project. Jackman Project was fire to me.
yeah,
I don't
no,
know
I
how.
thought so too. Yeah,
No, and then you know it was so crazy, man. When he did the Come Home the Kids Miss You album,
yeah.
a lot of people was giving him flack, man. Like a lot of people, but and that's why I love music so much because it's so subjective. Everybody
Mhm.
was dogging that album when it first came out. Like the day after, I remember people were like, "Oh, it's so disappointing," because
Mhm.
I think they had the big single leading up to it and everything. But I thought the album was amazing. Like I got it printed out on my wall. Like it's in my wall in my room. That's one of my favorite albums of all time, and a lot of people just thought it was nothing.
I think why the album didn't do so well is because it was so similar to like his original stuff, and a lot of people found him when he put "What's Poppin' Out," and they wanted like an album of "What's Poppin' songs, and that's like not the music that he like. He has a few songs like that, but that's not like the basis of his like music brand. So when he put that album out, it was like, oh, where's our "What's Poppin' song on here? And there just wasn't on the album because that's not what he typically makes. It's just the one song that popped off and got like crazy
Yeah,
big.
now that you say it like that, bro, I kind of get it though because I mean, as a Jack listener, because I've been listening to Jack for a super long. I found him when way back in the day, bro. Like I was a kid, and it was like him and his homies. He was still the nerdy dude with glasses and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I know the original Jack sound like in like what he really enjoys making. So I guess that's why I love the project, and a lot of people didn't. But now that you put it like that, I can kind of understand.
Yeah.